As Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim Munir meets President Donald Trump in Washington, the world watches a diplomatic balancing act that captures the complexity of Pakistan's foreign policy. The backdrop is tense. The Iran-Israel war has upended regional security, and Pakistan finds itself at a crossroad of its historic ties with China, its neighborly relations with Iran, and a thawing yet fragile engagement with the United States. Pakistan's relation with China is deep and multifaceted. Beijing is not just a key economic partner, but also Pakistan's main supplier of military hardware, with over 80% of Pakistan's arms coming in from China. In fact, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a $62 billion infrastructure initiative, cements this bond, linking Western China to the Arabian Sea and providing both countries with strategic leverage. For Islamabad, China's rise as a global power offers both opportunity and risk, especially as Beijing's rivalry with Washington intensifies. At the same time, Iran presents a different set of challenges. Since the Israeli strikes began, Pakistan has openly and vocally supported Iran's right to defend, condemning Israeli action as violation of international law and Iran's sovereignty. This stance is not just about regional solidarity, it's also shaped by Pakistan's internal dynamics. With a Shia minority comprising up to 20% of its population, Islamabad cannot afford to alienate Iran or risk inflaming sectarian tensions at home. In fact, instability in Iran is a direct threat to Pakistan's own security, making neutrality or mediation not just a diplomatic preference, but a strategic necessity. Not to forget, in January 2024, Iran conducted a series of missile strikes in Pakistan, asserting that it had targeted Baloch separatist group in the Pakistan province of Balochistan. Pakistan not only condemned the attack, but also expelled the Iranian ambassador before launching its own missile on alleged Baloch militants backed in Iran. Yet as Asim Munir sits across from Donald Trump, the contradictions are glaring. The US remains firmly opposed to Iran, viewing it as a destabilizing force in the region and a potential nuclear threat. Trump has made it clear that Iran must not acquire nuclear weapon, and he's weighing military options even as he given a diplomatic window of brief 2 weeks. In contrast, Pakistan's public support for Iran and its condemnation of Israeli strikes put it at odds with Washington's position. The two allies on Iran are poles apart. The divergence is lost on either side. For Pakistan, the challenge is to maintain its principled stand on Iran while not jeopardizing the possibility of renewed US engagement, especially as Trump signals a willingness to reset ties, at least tactically. For the United States, Pakistan's leverage with both China and Iran is valuable, but Washington remains wary on Islamabad's long-term intentions and allegiances. Munir's visit is emblematic of Pakistan's no-camp politics, an attempt to avoid choosing sides in the growing US-China rivalry while navigating the fallout from the Israel-Iran conflict. Analysts suggest Pakistan could serve as a mediator between US and Iran, but such a role is fraught with risk. Any overt alignment with the US could provoke backlash at home and strain ties with Tehran and Beijing, although distancing itself from Washington could limit Pakistan's diplomatic and, not to forget, economic options. Well, in the end, Pakistan's path is of one careful calibration. It must advocate for diplomacy and de-escalation, not just for regional peace, but for its own stability. As Munir and Trump discusses trade, technology and security, the real test will be whether Islamabad can maintain its delicate balance, or whether the pressure of great power rivalries and regional conflict will force its hand.